Abu Huraira, he used to be so hungry sometimes that he would lie down on the ground on his stomach because of hunger. And one day he said he was so hungry he sat by the way from which the Prophet Muhammad and his companions typically would pass through. And then the Prophet Muhammad passed by. And when he saw Abu Huraira, he smiled. And he said, Abu Huraira, come with me. And he went home. The Prophet Muhammad entered his house, and then Abu Huraira asked for permission. He was granted permission and entered the house of the Prophet Muhammad. Some of the family members of the Prophet Muhammad gave him a cup of milk and said this was sent to you as a gift. So he told Abu Huraira, he said, Abu Huraira, go call Ahlul Suffa, the people of As-Suffa. And those were very needy, destitute people at the time. They're the most needy within the community. Abu Huraira, in his mind, he's thinking, what will this cup of milk do to Ahlul Suffa? And there's so many of them, and this small cup of milk. He went to call Ahlul Suffa, and they came back. They asked for permission to enter the house of the Prophet Muhammad. They were given permission. They entered and they sat in the house of the Prophet Muhammad. And then the Prophet gave the cup of milk to Abu Huraira and said to him to give it to the people to drink. And Abu Huraira gave it to the first person who drank his fill from the cup of milk and gave it back to Abu Huraira. Abu Huraira then gave it to the second person who drank his fill from the cup and gave it back to Abu Huraira. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu gave the cup to the third person, and so on and so forth until all of them have had their fill from this cup of milk. Of course, this is a miracle that Allah gave the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, in which a small cup of milk was enough to feed everyone. And then all of them had drank, so the Prophet ﷺ told Abu Huraira to drink from it. So Abu Huraira sat and started drinking, and the Prophet ﷺ said, drink some more. Abu Huraira drank some more. The Prophet ﷺ said, drink some more. Abu Huraira drank some more. Kept saying, drink some more, until Abu Huraira said, by Allah, there's no room for it. There's no more space for it. He was so full from drinking. And then, so the Prophet ﷺ said, here, let me see. He took the cup, he praised Allah and thanked him, and mentioned the name of Allah and drank the rest. Some of the leadership lessons that I can extract is that a good leader has a high level of emotional intelligence and is intuitive to the needs of his followers and does not neglect them. The Prophet ﷺ, when he saw Abu Huraira sitting in the way, he smiled and he knew why he was there. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ also truly cared about the people, and it showed through his service to them as their leader. He tended to their needs and made sure their needs are met. We also see from this story how the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the last one to drink after everyone had their fill, even though he was the leader of the people.